This is Billy Washington, the Congress Lords.
I ain't got nothing but a few words to say, and that is, that I'm with the 16th Street Vice Lords. I'm from the Congress Street Vice Lords. I run from Pulaski and Arlington to all the way back to Madison, and all the way back through there to Keeler, all the way back to Van Buren. Anytime you down that way, you're welcome. You're a Lord, you're welcome. That's all I got to say, Jim.
Screaming that name out, which is the most important.
Right on. All the Vice Lords out there, you know. Yeah. Right on. Coles ain't hitting on too much. Damn, boy. Coles ain't too much.
We really over here in the trenches, really in the trenches. My body in the trenches. We really in death row, like none of that other shit. We right there. 85th, that's another 8485 CVL, you know.
We want that smoke. What? Money got it for the low. Huh? Come get all your smoke. Pull up. Huh? Shorty gon' blow your ass down. Treat a boy like a clown. Heard you got pounds to go take you down.
The almighty Vice Lord Nation, founded in 1958 by Edwin Peppilow, Perry, and 6 others inside the Illinois Youth Center in St. Charles, Illinois, began as a structured social club formed for survival, unity, and influence in the poverty-stricken west side of Chicago. What started in North Lawndale grew rapidly into one of the largest and most complex street organizations in the nation, fueled by a combination of street warfare, strategic expansion, and eventually social reform. Among its most well-known branches, the conservative Vice Lords stood out, not just for their dominance in street affairs, but also for their surprising transformation in the late 1960s into a community-driven organization through CVL Inc., earning non-profit status and government support. Today, the conservative Vice Lord sets remain active across Chicago's west and south sides, each with its own alliances, rivalries, and influence, reflecting the group's enduring legacy and its evolving role in urban American history.
The Vice Lords began in 1958, when 7 young dudes got out of prison together. 10 years later, there were 10,000 Lords. They became a nation, and the nation's spokesman was Bobby Gore. As a boy, forced out into the ghetto streets, Bobby Gore learned to fight. Bobby was part of that first black generation on the west side. That band
we argue and fuss and fight over, it's not coming from us, it's coming from environment. The brother is not his problem. His problem comes from someplace else. So what we're trying to create here is let's find out where our problems are coming from. This is one of the reasons why we're trying to find out right now where the Lords stand. See, we got some Lords, say they Lords, and they Lords until they get in trouble.
The Vice Lord Nation emerged in the late 1950s on Chicago's west side in the North Lawndale community.
that was in St. Charles. All the guys in St. Charles belongs to organizations such as Cobras, Imperial Chaplains, the Clovers, the Braves, the Imperial Knights, the Imperial Dukes, Spanish Counts, the Barons, several organizations. We had common enemies at that time, but we didn't know who they was. Now we realize the common enemies we had really was police.
It was founded by Edwin Peppilow, Perry, and 6 others while they were incarcerated at the Illinois Youth Center in St. Charles. The organization initially started as a social club, but evolved into a gang. The name Vice Lord was chosen to represent a strong grip on power. The early environment in North Lawndale was plagued by poverty, neglect, and a lack of recreational outlets for black youth, contributing to widespread gang activity. Before the Vice Lords, Chicago's black gang landscape included early groups like the Dirty Sheiks, Wailing Shebas, Clovers, and Imperial Chaplains. By the 1950s, North Lawndale had declined severely due to slumlords redlining, and white flight, leaving black families in desperate conditions. Amid systemic discrimination and violence, street gangs became survival mechanisms for many youths. Upon release, Perry and the original members began to aggressively expand the Vice Lords by absorbing or defeating other local gangs such as the Barons, Van Dykes, Cherokees, and Braves. Their aggressive recruiting tactics and combat readiness set them apart. The gang rapidly grew through intimidation, strategic warfare, and unification of splinter groups. By 1964,
This map here shows 26 segments of the conservative vice lords. We have up here at the top the warlords, King Solomon lords, Congress lords, traveling lords. And each one of these lords and these names of them calling out in certain areas in the community on the west side of Chicago. The blue pin.
The Vice Lord Nation is actually many gangs under one name. Some were absorbed by warfare, others by negotiation. Each group has its own leadership and is called a set. Each set retains decision-making power, somewhat like the 13 original states in the days before the Constitution and the federal government.
the Vice Lords had grown too large to be centrally controlled and began forming branches such as the Traveling Vice Lords, Unknown Vice Lords, and Insane Vice Lords.
What I'm saying, man, the things that we're doing to each other, we can't have it no more. What we need is a stick across our backs because we ain't woke up and really saw where our problems are, man, and we still running around here bickering and humbugging with each other. Every time we catch some brothers that's out here dusting and misusing each other, talking about killing and running, get their pistols, it should be a thing where 15 or 20 cats get on these dudes with sticks, man. You understand? And just dust them till they can't go no more. You see? Because our problem is not among ourselves. If we don't be living in the environment, in all this filth, and they ain't got no jobs, and they ain't got no food coming from nowhere, no place, this is frustration, Jack. This creates problems.
That was the voice of Bobby Gore, spokesman for the Vice Lord Nation. On November 21, 1969, as part of the city's war on gangs, Bobby Gore was indicted for. He was later convicted by an all-white jury and sentenced to 40 years.
In a pivotal shift, the Vice Lords, particularly the conservative Vice Lords, began transforming into a community-focused organization. Leaders like Perry, Bobby Gore, and Alfonso Alford initiated programs to end violence, support youth, and improve North Lawndale.
Instead of arming for revolution, the Lords tried to deal with the system's way. In September of 1967, they had became the Conservative Vice Lords Incorporated. With funds from private industry, they had opened Teen Town, a snack shop, an ice cream parlor. In April of 1968, 2 days before the assassination of Martin Luther King, they went on to open 2 Tasty Freeze franchises and an African Lion, an African heritage clothing store.
We're doing everything we can to create jobs so we won't have to go out to Skokie or to Elks Grove. I don't feel we should have to go out there because we ain't doing nothing but helping them. I feel it's time for us to help ourselves.
Grass where that not grown for years. Gutted storefronts into an art studio, a clothing shop, an office, a training center, a restaurant. This was a new thing on the west side, and the Lords staked their hopes on it.
They created CVL Inc., gained nonprofit status, and received grants from the Ford Foundation, Field Foundation, and others to start legitimate businesses like Teen Town, Art and Soul, and African Lion. They even marched with Martin Luther King Jr. in 1966 and collaborated with corporations to avoid rioting in 1967. Despite success, CVL Inc. suffered setbacks. Bobby Gore was wrongfully convicted of deletion, and the organization was grouped in with criminal enterprises like the Black Pea Stones. As federal funding dried up and city officials ignored the Vice Lords' outreach, the positive momentum waned. Businesses closed, and the group's legitimacy faded. Internal corruption, poor resource allocation, and loss of key leaders led to the end of the CVL Inc. era. By 1974, the organization had largely returned to street-level activity. Vice lords expanded throughout the south and west sides of Chicago and into suburbs and other U.S. cities, including Memphis and parts of North Carolina. While the conservative vice lords retained some positive direction, other branches engaged in the drug trade, particularly. The internal wars among vice lord factions escalated, with each branch acting autonomously, unlike other street organizations. In 1978, the vice lords helped create the People Nation Alliance in Statesville Prison, aligning with gangs like the El Rukns and Black P. Stones. Islamic doctrines were partially adopted to instill spiritual discipline. However, by the 1980s and 1990s, the group's focus shifted heavily to narcotics and gun violence, with factions dominating key drug territories in public housing projects like Cabrini Green, Henry Horner Homes, and Rockwell Gardens. Despite internal wars and law enforcement pressure, the Vice Lords remain one of the most powerful and far-reaching street organizations in the U.S., with an estimated 25,000 members across all factions. Their reach extends into every state, and their operations range from community involvement to organized criminal activities. Today, factions like the Conservative Vice Lords, Traveling Vice Lords, Unknown Vice Lords, and Insane Vice Lords continue to operate with their own agendas, often conflicting with one another.
What block I'm on, bro?
AceBlock, man. We out. This is BoogieWorld, man.
Say it again, bro. This what, bro?
This is BoogieWorld 316, man.
That's what it is, man. Y'all out here this early, bro, on the block?
AceBlock, also known as BoogieWorld, is a small but active conservative vice lord set based in Gage Park. The conservative vice lords established a presence in this area in 1997, immediately engaging in violent conflict with the Gangster Party people and Gangster Disciples across 59th Street. The set later adopted the name AceBlock and BoogieWorld in memory of Ace Boogie, a respected member who was deleted in 2013. StephGang operates out of 54th and Winchester. This CVL set maintains strong ties with HB CVLs and collectively identifies under the broader Vice Lord Nation. HB, or Lordsville, is based around 57th and Hoyne and is a part of the conservative Vice Lords. Known for their close alliance with StephGang, Lordsville plays a significant role in the local CVL structure, helping hold down territory and reinforcing interset loyalty on the west side. Lawndale holds historical importance, as 16th and Lawndale is the birthplace of the Vice Lords, founded by Edward Perry, Willie Lloyd, and others in the late 1950s and early 1960s. This area once witnessed conservative Vice Lords rising to become a community-involved organization with city funding. However, the movement's reputation shifted during the drug epidemic of the mid-1970s. Today, Holy City is divided, with the conservative Vice Lords, Traveling Vice Lords, and Unknown Vice Lords frequently clashing. Still, 16th to 21st Streets along Lawndale and Ridgeway remain conservative Vice Lord territory. RedGang, also referred to as the BreadAddicts, represents a Vice Lord set located at 74th and Ada. This faction has a reputation for strong street presence and resilience. Triple B's, also known as Bingo Block, is a well-established conservative Vice Lord set located on 81st and Muskegon in South Chicago. Formed in the 1990s, this set has held down its block for decades and remains a respected name in the area. Triple B's has close alliances with Gage Way of the New Life Souls, the Muskegon Boys, and the Burley Boys.
Okay. That's real A5 though. Real A5. That's real Death Row, you know? That's Death Row right there. Yeah, we still Death Row, but we really StephGang, SMG 623 though, you know? Long live 10, long live BD, long live Lil Mike, long live Savo, you know? TytoLand CQ, man. Niggas know them days. Niggas know them days.
Heard that boy want that smoke. What? Money got it for the low. Come get all your smoke. Pull up!
Death Row, also known as StephGang, is another CVL set based on 85th and Muskegon. Though under the same Vice Lord umbrella, they are known for having internal conflicts, particularly with Triple BS and other local sets. Death Row is closely aligned with Lakeside, Black Mob Maniacs, and Quill Block. This set has gained recognition in the Chicago drill scene, with rappers like Savo, Shorty Scoom, and Fat Lord putting their block on the map through music. Kuda Gang represents the conservative Vice Lords based around 77th and Peoria. Their roots trace back to the original Rock Island CVLs from 76th and May. Kuda Gang has maintained its identity through a combination of street influence and cultural presence, with local rapper Prince Kuda emerging as a key figure and voice for the set. Ghost Mob, also known as Troy N. Gerald, is a CVL set that has carved out its place through loyalty and strategic alignment. Ghost Mob is closely connected to other CVL sets like CCG and 600, but has distanced itself from nearby four-corner hustler sets such as LT, Black K Mob, and C4 Mob. One of their most prominent artists was Pluto 2 Times, whose legacy remains influential after his passing.
Free smoking be with Gino, shorty folks and they with Gino, let's let me real, get them going, we copping him, smoking home like Pappy, no. Get them going, hey, Chuck, cut that bitch! Stupid little bitch got hit with the blick. When Pap got hit, we ain't had to say shit. Playing that side 2 tone 46. Play ahead of street 46 with a stick. Walk with a lick, cause this 40 so big. 2-hand, now get the cig got kicked. Blake Block made like Ace doing flip. Nightmare and Hazel, the echelon.
TytoLand gang operates around Windsor and Hazel, including the 850 West Eastwood apartments. This conservative Vice Lord set works in close alliance with Lil 4 Mob, and has made a name for itself through its aggressive stance in the streets and its presence in local music. Notable artists from TBG include TBG Lil J and TBG Trav, who represent their territory through their music. HGM is a conservative Vice Lord set known to hold down blocks 5 and 6. While details are limited, their presence is recognized in localized street activity. Black Mob New Money is a CVL-affiliated group operating between Chicago and Springfield. Their reach spans multiple regions, and the set is associated with both street presence and financial-driven operations.
In the plate, got too many mouths to feed you in a way. I've been an 8. I'm just trying to chill for my children's sake, but I'll still play with all type of guns. Don't you see it today?
Midway Money Gang is a CVL crew originally based out of 45th and Laverne in the Archer Limits neighborhood. Their primary operations were in the LeClaire Courts housing projects until the demolition between 2009 and 2011. Many former residents and members still live nearby, keeping the set active. Midway Money Gang is known for focusing on financial gains rather than rivalries. CP Mob is a Vice Lord affiliated group based around 18th and Central Park. 400 is a Vice Lord set centered around Ferdinand and Avers. C4 Mob, also known as Luna Mob, is a CVL set whose main territory is Wabansia and Luna, with additional influence around Cortland and Linder in the Austin neighborhood. They've been active since the 1990s. C4 Mob maintains an alliance with Same Gang and is currently in conflict with SBG and the 4800 set. Sming Team, short for Lockwood Ferdinand 5200, is a conservative Vice Lord set based in the Austin area. Their core block is Ferdinand and Lockwood, with additional presence near Ferdinand and Laramie. The set has been active since the 1990s and has suffered the loss of members Gino, Floyd, and Donta. Known rappers from this set include T-Man and Tevo. BBMG, based in West Humboldt Park, is a conservative vice lord set with two main cliques, Ridgeway 600 at Ohio and Ridgeway, and CO Gang 600 at Ohio and Hamlin. Other known blocks include Huron and Ridgeway and Huron and Lawndale. BBMG has lost several members over the years, including J Rock, Big Shorty, Spike, Lil C, B Lord, and Terry. Their music scene features artists like Tilla, Bully Bino, and Chief Spaz. BBMG is allied with crews such as CCG 700, Moneycello, HBO, BMNM, OCC, Ghost Mob, and CPL. Lil Sam World operates primarily around Ohio and Central Park. As a CVL-affiliated group, this set shares ties with other 600 and BBMG cliques in West Humboldt Park.
Let the people know who we got on the couch with us today, though.
Cutthroat, so for them smokers in this. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man. Bad Prince Cutthroat. I know what's going on.
E-Block is a long-standing Vice Lord faction operating from 74th and Evans, with a notable presence at 75th and Cottage Grove. Active since the 1980s, this set is also known as KTS Cutthroat. EBC has produced notable rappers like KTS Vaughn. Moneycello is a CVL-affiliated group based around Monticello in Chicago. This crew is closely tied to BBMG and other West Side factions with a focus on money-making and maintaining presence. Yale World represents Vice Lords from the 16th and Drake area. This set holds down key blocks in the North Lawndale neighborhood and remains active in both street and cultural scenes. Mayblock is a traditional CVL set centered around 76th, and Maya traces its roots back to original Rock Island Vice Lord territory and continues to represent in the South Side. ABM operates around Iowa and Hamlin. This Vice Lord set is active in West Garfield Park.
BP on Swiper Gang, SIT. You feel me? One block, one valley, all that shit. We right here on the tracks, right here. This is the HQ headquarters right here. This corner, concrete mob 10-7. This is where it's set. This is where it really started, right here on the 7. This is where it all started, but you feel this bitch busting like a drive-through. You feel me? This is why it's hard to get up with us. So you gotta pick a truck.
10-7 Louisville is a South Side CVL set located at 107th and Normal. 11-3 is a Vice Lord branch based in the 113th and Edbrook area. 100K is a Vice Lord set located at Augusta and Lawndale. They are part of the West Side network. BoogieWorld operates from Ohio and Lamont and is considered a part of the BBMG family tree. CH short for Crystal and Hoyne is a CVL-affiliated set holding down turf in the Hoyne Square area. CVLs at 25th and Washtenaw is a foundational set maintaining Vice Lord traditions in the Lower West Side. D-Block is a Vice Lord set active in the area of Ohio and Drake. The history and ongoing presence of the conservative Vice Lords tell a complex story of survival, transformation, and contradiction. What began in a youth reformatory has grown into a multifaceted organization that, for better or worse, has shaped the social and criminal landscape of Chicago for over 6 decades. While some CVL sets have worked toward positive community engagement and economic upliftment, others have remained embedded in cycles of violence and illicit enterprise, reflecting the fractured nature of the Vice Lord nation itself. As the 21st century moves forward, the conservative Vice Lords continue to evolve. They remain a central figure in Chicago's gang dynamics, sometimes unified, often divided, but always significant. Their deep cultural roots, localized influence, and generational continuity ensure that the story of the CVLs is far from over. Whether seen through the lens of caution, history, or social reform, one fact remains. The legacy of the conservative vice lords is one of the most impactful and enduring chapters in the history of urban America.